Hi, in this video I'd like to show you the making of this scene, the graveyard scene. This is the image I have created for a regional movie poster, and in this video I'd like to show you the main steps involved in the creation of this picture. So I'll start with 3ds Max, where I have created this in 3ds Max. V-Ray, the render is in V-Ray. So I'll show you the steps. 3ds Max first. So this is the 3ds Max scene. Camera. This is the camera angle, and this is the scene. So the first thing is the ground. The ground I have created. There is a basic sculpt on these grounds. So just avoid texture. Okay. So this I have done some basic sculpt in ZBrush, or I asked my friend to do it for me. So you can see that I have some details on that. But I have a pretty regular map tiled on it. I'll show you the map which I have added on that. So I don't have some CDs unwrapping when I have a basic map tiled on this, but I think for the size of the scene it's too big. You can see the units I have another plane which I'm using, so it's around 200 meters in length, so and which is fairly dark, so much of things will not be seen. So that's why I thought of just doing a basic mapping on that. Just switch off the isolation. So and almost all the texturing is very basic. So and I have all these trees are populated using multiscatter, and you can see them. Okay. So you can see that these are two major hero trees. I have manually placed two trees here, and all of them are converted into V-Ray proxies. This is very important for a scene like this which has a lot of trees. 3ds Max will crash if or it will be out of memory and will close down once if we have a lot of things and your system resources are not enough. So it is always good that you convert your the high poly objects like this, which is basically scattered objects like this, into a proxy. So I'll just show you the process. I have the trees separately. Folder here where I have the trees. So I have these bushes and all these trees here. I have 3-4 types of trees. So it is always good that you convert them into proxies. What's the advantage of proxies is proxies are a great feature of V-Ray which loads only on render time. The particular bucket that you're rendering, or see if you consider rendering this, the V-Ray is a bucket based rendering. Only that particular mesh will be loaded into RAM. So it is not just rendering, it's maybe takes a little more time. So it is really good that it will be really light for your RAM. So it is always good that you can convert your scene. You just go to right click and say that V-Ray mesh export, and I export all objects into a single file. For me that's fine. You name it, and just say automatically create proxies. So what it do is it will just click OK. So it will create a proxy and replace your tree with a proxy tree. So a proxy will not be even in the scene's size you can optimize by creating proxies, because it is an external file which is loaded into 3ds Max, and the viewport also will be light, and majorly for rendering. Because before I didn't convert every one of these trees into proxies. I directly used for multiscatter. I can pick a proxy tree or a normal tree for multiscatter. but my 3ds Max was crashing frequently, so that's why I had to convert every one of them into a vray proxy tree. So then it works very fine. So it is always good if you have a huge scene, you convert all of them into a proxy. I'll open back the my main scene. About the multiscatter, I have explained in detail about using multiscatter in some of my other videos, so I'm not going in a lengthy um, not making a lengthy detail of multiscatter work here, because which I have already explained in my other videos. So I have used here 3 or 4 different multiscatters, and there is another multi-paint, so you can paint the tree. So there are multi-scatters and multi-painter, which I can see as I can paint some areas separately. So and I so these are different grasses, all those things I have painted separately here. Some of them are painted, some of them are scattered through lines, all those things. So I have stones here. So these are the objects which I'm using for scatter. I have these trees, that's obvious, and I have some other grasses, and I have some stones, so which I'm scattering through the surface. So that's it. And second thing I want to talk about is this, that is this ivy that you can see, that these plants which are creepers which are here on these which on the scene is kind of a contrast, because everything is dull and dark, and I have some green over here. So that I wanted that to be there. So I used a 3ds Max plugin called this ivy. You can download, it's a freeware. This ivy generator, you can download it, and this is here. You can go to this blueware.at and you can download this. This is very small plugin. You can easily install this in 3ds Max, and it's a freeware. So I use this to create these creepers, and I don't know, this also crashes many times, so I created in a separate scene and imported here. I exported these geometries and created these IVs and imported back, because in this particular scene it was creating some trouble. So what I did is just let me see this scene. I'll show you the IVs, how it works. So I have separate scenes which has, so I exported these steps separately, so that I can create some plans on this. So once you installed, you would find it here. So I'll create this somewhere near to my objects. It no need to be on that, it should be somewhere near, and you can ask this to grow. So it will start growing on that, and you can randomize it. Mostly I go with the flow and find out how it is growing. If it's not working, I'll try multiple ways. Whenever you're fine with the growth, you can press escape and pause, stop it. So you can see that I have some cards which I can apply textures and create an IV on the model, and it's really fine. So I exported it from here to the other scene, and that's how I used it. So next thing is in my scene, the major thing is that the walls and the gate which is in front, which is showing in front, I wanted it to look very old and broken in all these ways. So I used I'm not very good in modeling, so my easiest option was to use ray fire. So I have used ray fire to shatter those objects. So I can see that if I go nearby, I have broken these it should have been a little more smoother, because it was a basic downloaded stuff. So didn't do much of that work here. I should have been smoothing these edges a little more, but I think for this case it works fine. So these are broken using ray fire, and that is also quite simple to use. So I select any of these objects and open my ray fire and open ray fire window, just clear all the steps and add this as an object, and go to fragmentation, and I say I need some irregular fragmentation, and make sure that what kind of objects are, is this dense rock, I think that is fine, or you can select concrete, and just you ask how many pieces you need. So I would say I need 30 pieces, and just say I could fragment the objects, so it will start breaking into pieces. I think I'll just switch on the wireframe mode. I opened so many software, so it's gonna take a little time there. I think I press 3 to back to shaded. So now you can see that it's broke. If you wanted, you can further break a particular object. So that's what I was doing. So I just select this object, and I want to further break into similar. I don't want to break everything, this particularly, so that's what I cleared all other fragments and selected one fragment, and I'm just breaking that fragment again. And I could delete these steps and show like it's just kind of broken and all the steps. So if you wanted any of these fragments, you can further break it and do it. I found it a little easier than modeling all these things separately, so I would do this way. So okay, that was the other thing. So I have used it in many areas that I broke all these things, even for getting irregularities on these objects. So I added some twist, and some of them even I broke some of these metals and added little twist to add a little more realism. I have some twist modifiers here and there, so that is for that side. Okay, so that's how I managed to have the basic look and feel of it. And coming to lighting and rendering, it's fairly simple approach. So I had a lighting reference. First of all, so I have collected couple of references, and this is what I kind of liked. This concept art I liked, so I found it in Google. So this is what I wanted to follow in a sense. So this is a very strong yellowish warm light in the front, and rest of these areas have a bluish side light. So for getting that effect, for the blue rim, I used sunlight with a filter color, so I have a very bluish light. So I'll show you the render of that particular light. So I have rendered, okay, you can see that I have a strong blue light on the left hand side, coming from the right towards left. So, and this is the effect of the background light. So I'll show you in max. So I have this light to create a strong blue rim, and I have used this very normal rectangular V-Ray light to create a backlighting for these trees. And I have this again to give some ground, some illumination. I have used this light, and this is to fill back in. I have used, there is not much indirect illumination happening in the scene, it's most of manually lit. I have, even though I have indirect illumination on, I try to manage to give the fill lights manually by adding some fill lights. This is to give some more light on this area, and I have a fill light here. So if I have to composite a character or something, it will not be in complete darkness, so I just added a fill light here and some side kick light, so I have some more rim happening on these areas. So, and I should mention about the passes which I have which I'm using. So as I needed fog, I have a depth pass which I can add a fog or something in the scene, because the scene, as you see the render, it's very foggy and not very clear, so it's that kind of a mood, so I may need such passes. So I have taken all the lighting passes separately. That is um, I have the backlight separately. I have the blue light separately, so I try to take the passes separately, and along with that I have a material ID pass as well as a multi-element pass. So if I had to select the objects separately, so I have used vray render elements in render setup. If you can go, you can see I have a couple of render elements. One is C depth, and I have a rim that is a backlight, and I have the sunlight, which is a blue illumination, a side rim, and I have a front light, which is this. So all of this I have added separately, so I can composite it well, and I have a material ID pass, so which I can select any particular object separately, and a multi-matte element which I have used to separate the IVs, so the creepers. So I have a creeper pass separately, so I can color correct them, maybe tone it down a little because it was very greenish. Maybe I was doubtful how it will go with the scene because everything is dark and dull. So I have used a separate multi-matte element, so I can separate them anytime or tone down at any time. So I have the basic this is my render. It didn't take much time. I rendered 2.5K in HD format. So this is the render, the basic render, and this is the blue light. I start adding the passes, basically adding a little more blue into that and doing some grading, and I combined, not explaining all these things, and just basically tell you how I did a post-production, because and not much people uses Fusion these days, but I'm very fond of this software and very used to doing this. So I have used the C depth here, so I can combine the C depth to my color pass, so which I can add some fog from behind, and I have a little fog there, and I have a little glow on that, a little color correction, and I used a sky which I downloaded from cgtextures.com. This is a very basic step, very normal sky, so just did a couple of color corrections to match with this. So I have added the same, like you can see this bluish tint which I have used a noise, that is a very normal noise that you maybe find in Photoshop, After Effects, everywhere. So I combined that noise, so it's not completely reddish, so I have some bluish, so it's so I start here kind of very warm here and just going to cool, so I have some contrast in the scene. So these are a couple of color corrections happening, and I have some color grading here happening again, some glow on there, it's a little more common. And this is what I combed in Fusion. So it was very sharp. It looks good, but it was very sharp, and I wanted something a little more foggier, a little more softer. So at this stage I took it to Photoshop, where I could paint. I had some mistakes here, so some trees were floating, so I had to manually correct it. So at this point I took the entire thing into Photoshop. So I'll show you the layers which is in Photoshop. So this is what I imported from there, and started adding a little more grading here. So I have a little more foggier version of it, and this was too low contrast for me, so I just wanted a little more contrast over there. And again, I just used the curves where I'm grading, like I'm just making these areas darker. You can see the mask, this is what the mask I use. So rest of the areas are a little darker, and I did some basic cloning and all those things to look things normal. And I have a fog layer, so it's a very pale because I have reduced opacity quite a lot, so it's a very pale fog. You can see it or not. So I have some fog here and there, then masked with okay, so I'll just switch on the rest of the things. I have some fog, you can see that I have reduced opacity like down, and little correction for the fog. That is, fog is little, that yellow color is a little added, little yellow to that fog, so it's not completely bluish. And I have some birds. It's a Photoshop brush, so you can download this brush and add some birds over there. And I tried even compositing a character over here, so as I told, it's for a movie, so wanted to composite a character here. So this is what with that character in this scene, which is a photograph I have taken. So it's just basically I have a shadow composited on the character and grading it for this particular scene, but I think that's fine without character. So this is the last one, was a color correction, that is a basic color balance. So I wanted a little more it was a little more green color prominent, so I was just trying to have a different look. That's I like both of them. It's just basic blue, adding a little more blue into the scene. I think that's it. This is what I want to show you. Thank you for watching.